What's up YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Lucario in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing some competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section of the video. And if you enjoy these videos, they help you out, drop a like and let's get into it. So Lucario is a fairly versatile Pokemon. It's got good all-round stats in attack, special attack, and speed. So we're able to do quite a few things with Lucario, and it does have multiple options of Tera and abilities that you can choose from. So the first set we're going to have a look at here is probably the one that's used the most. Different variants of it is, it's sort of, basically it's a Temu Dragonite, right? So it's going to be having extreme speed as its main attack. So you've got the Tera normal and you've got extreme speed, very similar to Dragonite, except it is a little bit different. It doesn't have the bulk of Dragonite and ability, but it has other abilities like Inner Focus. So Inner Focus is quite good on Lucario because it can prevent any flinches, and it's also going to be immune to Intimidate. So when the opponent does try to drop your attack, it's not going to work. Also, if there's anything that has a priority move, say like Fake Out or anything faster that flinches you, like say Iron Head, not that you'd probably use Iron Head on Lucario unless it was Tera Normal, they're not going to actually affect it, which is going to be good. The other move we got on there, we've got a nice powerful Steel move in Meteor Mash. It's got pretty good accuracy at 90 and has a chance to raise the attack by 1. Now, Lucario also has Close Combat, which is a very nice physical fighting move on there, and we've also got Sword Dance on there too. Lucario can find itself setting Sword Dance up due to its typing, especially against a fairly passive Pokemon. Even like a Toxic Stalling Pokemon would be quite good there. Now, with its other abilities it has, we've got Steadfast, so that's going to prevent any Pokemon flinches, and it's going to raise its speed by 1 stage as well. Not quite as good as Inner Focus, because this does the same thing and it stops Intimidate, but it does give us a speed rise. But it's more gimmicky because you have to rely on getting flinch. So most people you find are going to use Inner Focus. The hidden ability is Justified, so when it gets hit by an attack of obviously a Dark type move, it gets raised by 1 stage. So you can actually do some pretty interesting things with that in especially Doubles or VGC, whatever rule set you are playing. So this set is pretty standard. The items you can swap up a little bit. So we got max attack and max speed EVs and Jolly Nature. Jolly is important because it gives you a nice speed stat, and you're able to outspeed quite a few Pokemon in that tier then, or below that tier if you're faster. And we also have Sword Dance to patch its attack too. You could opt to go for Adamant Nature, which should, if you had Tera Normal, you could spam Extreme Speed a lot. That would give a lot more damage output, but you may take some more damage than you want to when you have to go for a different move than Extreme Speed. For example, if a Ghost type comes in and it's a speedier Ghost type, you may take some damage, right? Because you'll have to go for a different move. So I like Jolly on Lucario. It works very nicely. It's got plenty of ways to boost its attack. As for item, you can run Life Orb. That's a pretty standard item on it. It's going to give you a nice 1.3 times damage on virtually everything. Sometimes if you run Close Combat too, you can opt to go for Focus Sash. It's a bit of a cheesy item, but obviously after you use Close Combat a couple of times, Lucario is very, very frail. It's quite frail anyway, and that's another option you go for. If you don't want to, if you sort of want to keep your opponent guessing, you can have Expert Belt as well. It's only a little bit less powerful than Life Orb, and you don't lose the life using your attacks every single turn. So you don't give away your item and you don't take any damage from, say, Life Orb. It is a tiny little bit weaker too, but you get a granted bonus on super effective attacks. So, it's pretty good fighting moves, steel type moves, and there's quite a few Pokemon that could be hit for super effective with those attacks. So not a bad little option either. Another one you can go for if you don't want to run Sword Dance on there. You can go Assault Vest and you can give it a bit of bulk on there instead. You could sort of like opt for that, but you'd have to give Lucario another like physical move on there. So you could opt maybe for something like, you could have Bullet Punch on there as well as like a double priority alongside Meteor Mash. Also on that Sword Dance set too, you could even have Bullet Punch over Meteor Mash as well. It doesn't really hit all that. It's not like a Scissor or something like that, but it still gives you good priority, and it'll destroy stuff like, you know, flutter main and that kind of thing there. But that's another option. It gives you some extra special bulk, which is pretty nice. And you can also run Lucario on it. It would be good on a sand team, right, with hip powered on. So that could definitely work too. Some other options you could run on there. Ice Punch is always good for coverage. You know, it's great for coverage, say, especially something like Gliscor that comes in. Gliscor is very good at tanking a lot of those moves. It does have to watch out for boosted extreme speeds, but Ice Punch is going to be very good against that. That'll just completely dominate it. So that's another way of running physical Lucario, a couple of different items and such like that. I would definitely keep inner focus on this kind of set. Now, most people do run physical Lucario, but you can run special Lucario as well. So this set is based on boosting Lucario's special attack, so it's very fortunate. It has Sword Dance and it has Nasty Plot, so it's got great ways of boosting both stat, and its special attack stat is actually higher than its attack stat. So we got max special attack and max speed. We're running Timid this time, putting the last little bit in defense or special defense. Doesn't make too much of a difference. And yeah, so we got ability on this one. We've got, you could have Steadfast on this one. I thought Steadfast could be, you know, more valuable because it doesn't really matter if we're immune to Intimidate or not. We're running a special set, and Justified is only for, you know, for getting attack boost. So I thought Steadfast could be good. And if you get Flinch, well, you're going to get a speed rise, which is only going to help Lucario out. It's going to, you know, be able to outspeed a ton of almost everything then. So the moves we've got on here, we've got a choice of Aura Sphere. Aura Sphere is a pretty good attack. It never misses. 80 base power, pretty solid. You could go for Focus Blast if you want, but this move is very, very shaky. I mean, it's going to hit very hard, sure, but it's going to miss a lot. So you sort of have to, you know, weigh those options up. If you want to go for something steady and safe, I'd have Aura Sphere. Flash Cannon is a good special move there. It's got, once again, another 80 base power, and you've got a chance of dropping the special defense too. And, you know, you've got 100% actually, which is good. Another move you could run on there, this is more of like a move that's going to hit very, very hard, but it can sort of make Lucario very short-lived, is Steel Beam. Steel Beam's got incredible base power of 140. And that's going to do a lot after a Nasty Plot. But you need to make sure you're using it at the right time, because you're going to have 50% of your health, you know, just completely gone there. So perhaps you could run something along there like a Citrus Berry or a Leftovers or something like that, so you could maybe get another shot of it off. That could be an option. That's more gimmicky though. I don't know. I wouldn't be inclined to do that unless you want to deal like massive damage, you know, with Steel Beam. Leftovers will allow you to hit like another hit, or you could go Shell Bell or something if you wanted to. But most of the time, you're gonna have Flash Cannon's gonna be more reliable, as in you'll be able to get more of them off without fainting. The last move I got here is Terra Blast, and that's going to be Terra Blast Ghost. Running back to this set here, you could run Terra Blast Ghost as well as a more defensive build, but you can still go for Extreme Speed. Mind you, Extreme Speed is not going to be very powerful without Terra Normal, so just bear that one in mind. Yeah, so we've got same kind of items that work well on this. We've got Life Orb on here. That's going to work well. Expert Belt. Any of those sort of items are going to be good. Look, you could have Focus Sash on there as well. So these ones are probably more geared towards singles play, and we've got some doubles ones here. But these you could use these in doubles as well. I'm not saying you couldn't, but there are a few differences that you obviously would have to do. Another good item on a physical Lucario, just in general, is Lumberry, because once this gets burned, it's not exactly, it's not much of a threat really. So Lumberry is always a good item there. You know, paralysis, you know, burn, anything like that's going to be good. You could opt to run heavy duty boots on there as well, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't. This is definitely mainly for singles heavy duty boots. I wouldn't worry too much about that, especially with a Terra Normal Extreme Speed set. That's not going to be an issue, and you're going to resist, you know, some of those entry gases anyway. So, like, you know, Toxic Spikes doesn't matter. Stealth Rock doesn't really matter. So, probably not the greatest item to run on, unless you're going for something like really specific or some kind of Terra. I don't know, like I'm trying to think of something that would even be good for that. But yeah, there's some options there for items. So you got a physical set and a special set that you could definitely use there. As for Terras, it doesn't really have a great range of Terras that are going to work on it. Look, you could go fighting as well if you want to get some more power out of Aura Sphere, because it is a little bit weak. But Terra Fighting is going to be you know, kind of nice there. But there isn't too many other Teras that are going to work very good with this. If you got any other suggestions, let me know. You could do Tera Steel as well. I'm not saying you can't do that. You could go like something crazy like Tera Steel Beam. That would be some insane damage for sure, especially after a nasty plot. And then you could obviously adjust Tera Blast for another like coverage move, something like it does get Psychic as well. So Psychic is an option for opposing fighting type Pokemon that can be a threat, but you're going to need a nasty plot up to do some decent amount of damage there. But that could be a good way, maybe to surprise any fighting type Pokemon. So there you go. There's a physical set and a special set, mainly geared towards singles, I would say, but you could try them in doubles. Let's have a look at some double set. They are pretty similar anyway, to be honest, what I was already talking about. So we've got this first Lucario here is definitely a physical set. So we've got Protect, Detect, whatever you want to use. Close Combat, Extreme Speed, Tera Normal, and Bullet Punch. I like Bullet Punch because it gives you another priority apart from Extreme Speed, and it's good for like Flutter Mane and stuff that's going to outspeed you anyway. You could get rid of Detect or Protect and give it a Sword Dance if you wanted to. It definitely is possible for you to get a Sword Dance up there. It's especially if you've got another partner Pokemon with Follow Me or something. So you could definitely make use of that if you wanted to. Just bear in mind for this set, we definitely don't want Swift on there. Just bear in mind I've picked Inner Focus, so that could definitely work there too. So I would go Inner Focus and you're immune to Intimidate. There's a lot of Intimidate Pokemon in doubles and stuff, so or whatever format, there's a lot of them, so that's going to definitely work. So you could go just fully offensive there and not even worry about Detect or Protect. That could definitely work, but I'd probably choose my have some good teammates there for sure. You could have some. I would have a Fairy type Pokemon. Like Clefable with like Follow Me, that could definitely work. Any fighting moves aimed at it can follow me, redirect the moves, and then Lucario can get a Sword Dance up, and then you can proceed to go like Tera Normal, Extreme Speed, or you could even go like, say, a Flutter Mane, you could go Tera Normal to get around a Ghost move, and then go Bullet Punch, if it's got a Sash or some weird item like that. So there's some options that you could use for that. Next one we've got here is a Justified set. So this is a little bit different because this time we're using Covert Cloak. Now, Covert Cloak is essentially, pretty much what this ability here is, right? Making it immune to any of these secondary effects like flinching. But there are other things as well. But yeah, we've got Covert Cloak on that. I feel like that's important because there might be some other like fake out users and such like that. And this one is based around getting your attack boosted. So I would work this one with something like a beat up Pokemon like Whimsicott. For example, so like Whimsicott or something like that with beat up. And if you go beat up, it's a very fast Pokemon. So if you had a beat up Pokemon and you had like, depends what you like, four beat ups there, it's going to be a lot. Or if you got like a 6 team, you can have 6 beat ups. But yeah, you get those attack boosts there. So every single time you get hit by a beat up, it's going to give you a +1. It's sort of like the the Terrakion strategy that was used years and years ago that you've seen before. So this is kind of like the old Terrakion strategy, but you can use it for Lucario. So as you can see, I've got Tera Rock. It does learn Rock Slide, which is good. So that's going to give you a pretty a decent powerful attack there after say +4 in attack. You've got Tera Rock, you've got Rock Slide, 90% actually, so it's pretty good. And you've also got that flinching chance too, and it's going to hit both the opponents, which is nice. You also got a spread of like Earthquake on there too. So if you have like an ally, you can also have like, say you have Protect on there, you can just use Protect that turn, and you can go for Earthquake. If you come across any like Steel type Pokemon and such like that gives you coverage. And if you come across anything that's really annoying that just needs to be finished off quickly with Bullet Punch, you also have that option too, because you have +4 in attack, so it'll be hitting pretty hard. So Justified and Covert Cloak work pretty well on there. You could run like Life Orb on there, but I like Covert Cloak, especially because you're not running these abilities, especially this ability here or this ability, because I'm not going to be like immune to those things anymore. EVs here, Lucario's EVs are pretty standard all round, even on a physical or a special attacking set. So max speed and max attack is what I'd go for. You definitely want speed because you want to be able to outspeed stuff and go for a Rock Slide. So that's going to be handy. yeah, so that's a different way of running Lucario. If you've got any other ideas, let me know. For Lucario, it's quite a versatile Pokemon, but these are the sets that I feel would work probably the best overall. Just going back to some of these, actually, we'll have a look at this one too. This is a set that I've run. It's a little bit different. This is a real bulky Lucario set. I just wanted to show this to you. It's probably not quite as good as the other sets there, but after a bit of setup, it's quite a potent sweeper. Probably aimed more at in singles, but you could give it a try in doubles too. So Lucario does get bulk up, which most of the time is overlooked for Sword Dance, or if you're running a special set, Nasty Plot. And it also gets Drain Punch too. So Drain Punch is overlooked a lot for close combat and stuff like that. But both of these moves are pretty good and they work very, very well together. So we're going to build like a tanky set. So max health, and I'd go max special defense, careful nature. So we're completely boosting its special defense there, making it very tanky. And bulk up is going to fix its attack and defense. So we're going to get some bulk ups happening. And we've got lots of priority on there because we don't have anything at speed, so we now to be able to like hit really, really hard and fast, right? So we've got extreme speed, and we've got bullet punch here, and we've got Tera type fighting. Tera type fighting, Drain Punch is going to give you all your like health back, which is going to be really nice for Lucario. So you've got a 50% recovery on Drain Punch, and with the big root as the item, you get an additional 1.3 times. So it gives you a ton of health back. The trick with this set is to get the bulk ups happening. So you need to get those bulk ups up before this set is going to do anything. If you don't get them up, it's not going to be all that good, right? So it's going to need like some kind of setup, like whether your partner has a Follow Me or Rage Powder or something like that, or you swap it into a Pokemon that's quite passive. Or a Pokemon that you think, oh, well, they'll surprise you, right? If they're a special attacking Pokemon and you've got, special defensive investment and you feel like you can get a few bulk ups off and finish them with Drain Punch, you get your health back. That works, really good too. But yeah, that's another way you could possibly run Lucario. I've run this before; it's quite good. The trick is getting the bulk ups happening. I had a Hitmonchan kind of similar to this, but this is a little bit better than that. So yeah, there's a bulk up tank. I'm gonna do some teammates and some counters and stuff. Let me show you this last meme set here. So this is more gimmicky stuff now. So we got this. This is a health set. So this set, Lucario has Final Gambit. So not many people run Final Gambit on Lucario, but it does have it, and it can be handy at just getting rid of an annoying Pokemon, right? So on any Final Gambit set, you're gonna want max health, because Final Gambit is based on the amount of health you have. So max health, and I've given it max speed, Jolly Nature with a Choice Scarf. And I've also given it Inner Focus too, so I can't be flinched by Fake Out and Intimidate. Well, Intimidate's really only good for these last couple of attacks. So I've given it basically pure priority. So you might be able to disguise it a little bit, finishing off Pokemon on small amounts of health. Close combat, finishing off something you're going to be able to finish off with no attack EVs. And then say something really stally comes out, you can bring it in and just go Final Gambit and just, do a ton of like direct damage to it. So you bypass any defensive boost or, stuff like that. So it could be a good surprise Pokemon. Definitely a gimmicky set there, but in the right situation, it could work when the opponent thinks, well, I've got all these defensive boosts up. Say a great example absolutely great example here would be, let's say an Iron Defense Pokemon, right? An Iron Defense Pokemon that has here we go, Corviknight. That's a great counter for Lucario. So normally Corviknight is a very, very good counter for Lucario. Let's say if it was like max health, right? Say it was max health. That's going to do the majority of its health. So it's already taken some prior damage. You could come in there and, just nuke it and get rid of it. So, that's a very good counter for Lucario, but, that's one way of getting around it. So it's something interesting to think about there if you want to surprise your opponent. The bad thing is you've got to give up your attack EV, so you won't be doing a lot of damage, plus you're locking yourself into one move, because you need Choice Scarf on this, because you can still get outspared by faster Pokemon or opposing Choice Scarf Pokemon. That can be a problem too, but that's another thing to think about. Let's have a look at some teammates here for Lucario. A good teammate for Lucario, Dragapult. That's a good teammate. So this obviously is a Ghost type Pokemon, so working well with Lucario there, whether it's singles or doubles. You've got a Ghost type, so it can take fighting moves. Also, any fire moves and such like that. Works very nicely. Another one you could possibly run, speaking of good typing, would be Armoro. So you've got the fire and psychic type. Lucario is weak to fire. And that's going to be a good Pokemon. And also, we're also like weak to fighting as well. So you got the Psychic type too. So they're actually pretty good. Kind of good teammates for it. Some other good ones, like Incineroar is always good as well. Especially tanking into those fire type moves, and you could use it as Intimidate too. That's going to work very well in doubles and with Parting Shot and stuff like that. I've gone over Incineroar so much. If you want to check Incineroar out, I've done a guide on that. Some other ones you could run. We already went over Whimsicott and Beat Up. That could work too. I'm trying to think of anything else that would be remotely decent. You might be able to run like Pelipper with Pelipper just for any fighting moves. That's actually quite a good counter because water and flying. You can tank the fire moves and any fighting moves, and then you can maybe be able to set your rain up if you've got any rain users on the team. That could potentially work as well. Or you might be able to like sort of mix it into the team. So you had like, say you didn't have Tera normal, you could have like Tera water on there. That could work nicely on a rain team. As something just a bit different. Not saying you have to do it, but as something a little bit different, you could put that as a water, and that would get around any fire type Pokemon too, and you'd be benefited from the drizzle. So that could be another way of running it too. Among Us is very good on so many things, but I have to it would be good for redirecting any with Rage Powder, any different fighting moves. So you might be able to set up there with it. Just have to watch out for any like fire moves and stuff like that. Another one that you might be able to use would be Annihilate. That would be a good one there. You might be able to boost up it's Rage Fist with that. I've done an Annihilate guide already, but you can get around any fighting moves and any like fire moves. You might be able to build your Rage Fist damage up there too. But yeah, that's a good amount of teammates for that. I've mentioned pretty much all the items that you could run on there that are mostly that are actually mostly viable. Let's think of some. The best counter to Lucario, in my opinion, are Ghost-type Pokemon. So probably, I mentioned this already, but Dragapult is also a good counter for Lucario. It just has to watch out for like Ice Punch and stuff like that. So you've got Dragapult. A great one is Goldengo as well, because Goldengo is Steel and Ghost. So that's going to get around Steel moves and no fighting moves. It just has to watch out for like Earthquake. That's kind of about it. And it can be a good counter. Another really good counter too, somewhat of a counter, can be Mimikyu, especially for fighting type moves. And then you can threaten to set Sword Dance up and such like that. Plus, it can get it around Extreme Speed too. That's definitely another good counter there for Lucario. I'm trying to think of any other good counters there, but I'd say that most of them. Like there's like Ghost type moves and stuff like that. Let's have a look at some more like last minute thoughts on Lucario and some of the moves I may have missed, or I've missed them for a reason or haven't mentioned them. So have a look at the status moves. So agility is not too much of a thing. Bulk up, we mentioned that. It does get Calm Mind as well. Mostly you're going to be using Nasty Plot if you're using a special set. It gets Iron Defense, that's not too good. It doesn't really get Body Press. Nasty Plot win over that. It does get some interesting moves like Coaching and Copycat. Unfortunately, Riolu outclasses it with a coaching because Riolu's got Prankster. So if you want to use like a coaching set, you're probably better off using Riolu because it has Prankster. You can use that first and Copycat. So yeah, if you want to do like strategies like that, go with Riolu, like a Everlight set or something. It does get Helping Hand too. You might be able to run like a defensive one with like coaching and Helping Hand, but I feel like it's going to be outclassed by other Pokemon. It does have Quick Guard, which can be useful as like a sort of like help your rest of your teammates out from priority moves. That's going to kind of be there for its status moves. It's pretty much used for only a few certain things. Looking at its physical moves now, it gets a bunch of fighting type moves. Mostly you find you're going to be using close combat out of all of them. There's not, or Drain Punch. They're the two moves that I would use on Lucario for fighting moves. Obviously, it's going to be using Extreme Speed a lot of the time. You might be able to there's High Jump Kick as well, but you have to be very careful with that one, especially in doubles with like lots of protect users or Tera Ghosts and stuff like that. Ice Punch is good for coverage. Meteor Mash is a very good steal move on it. Rock Slide is great for definitely great for doubles. Stone Edge isn't bad either for any fire types. You can use that. You can also boost your speed with Trailblaze if you want to. That's another option. I'm just trying to think there's any other stuff you can do. You can do like cheese, like running reversal and stuff like that. This is probably more for singles. I would go in a focus. You could have something like, you could either have focus sash or you could have something like weakness policy and endure. And you could have something cool like upper hand when you know they're going to use like a priority move, right? That could be something cool to get around there. And you have to have something like, I don't know, meteor mash. Yeah, to get around that. So that could be like another interesting set you go for. That's very, very gimmicky though, because you've only got 1 health with that. And so you have to rely on upper hand a lot once the opponent's got a priority move. And if they're a ghost, you sort of cook there, so you can't really do much. But just another way you could run Lucario like more gimmicky wise. I'm trying to think of some other stuff you can do. I think this is pretty much it for Lucario. Let's have a look at its special move set. Always like to look at everything. So special moves. Its special move set is a lot, shallower than its physical one. So we've gone over our fighting moves here. Oh, another one I forgot to mention was Vacuum Wave. You could possibly run that as priority on Lucario for like a nasty plot Vacuum Wave set. That could work. But the pickings are pretty slim for moves here. So you could do an absolute nuke with Steel Beam and Specs Lucario. That could be something that's like, some immediate damage is absolutely crazy. I don't know, I'd probably go modest on that because you want to get as much damage as possible. So you get like a crazy like Steel Beam like nuke set with like Tera Steel. That is going to do a heap of damage, like a ton of damage. So, and then you could just like slot on other moves that would be useful. Like, I don't know, I'd go full out. I'd go like Focus Blast. Got Dark Pulse as well. I go Psychic on there. And you could have Vacuum Wave on there as well if you wanted to priority finish stuff off. But that's another way you could run Lucario like a choice spec set. That could definitely work. But I think that's about it for Lucario. I think we sort of covered everything. I hope this video was helpful. If you've got any other suggestions for moves or something you use that works, let me know in the comment section. If there's a Pokemon you want me to cover that I haven't already, check out the playlist there. If it hasn't been done, put it below. I'm usually trying to focus on the fully evolves first. Pokemon. I have a look at maybe some middle stages down the track, but mostly fully evolved Pokemon, and or any legendaries are fine too. Just put any suggestions you'd like to see. All right, people, hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like if you did. If you're new, maybe hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.